Good morning, good morning, good morning, and a huge warm welcome to Carnation Crafts. We're live in the Carnation Crafts studio and it's lovely to have your company. Special day today. We've got two really amazing shows. This one is selling fast already though, just to let you know, because nested dies are always your most important, right? This is your Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes. Eyelet and Ring, in my opinion, best ever nested die shapes. They're incredible. They're beautiful to look at. They're incredibly versatile and they are awesome to use. Every card you make with the Eyelet and Ring just looks beautiful at the end of it. They're finished so well. It's such a lovely piece. You get to weave paper with these. You can have them exactly as they are. We've got absolutely gorgeous pieces to show you. 241015, the Eyelet and Ring additional card shape collection on the Carnation Crafts website, carnationcrafts.co.uk. Show price today $69.99, but that is going to go up at midnight tonight because it is the deal of the day. At midnight, it'll go back to $83.97 because each of these will then go as an individual set, $27.99 each. But you can get it as a special price today, $69.99, free UK P&P. If you already own the Eyelet and Rings, you know how stunning they are, you know how glorious they are. Over 10% has gone before we even went to air, so you've got to be in fast for these things, but absolutely beautiful. Now, in today's show, we're going to have a look at the boards, and then we're going to have a look at a load of samples for you. Beautiful work from the DT team, and then we'll do some demos for you so you can see some different bits coming through. And then just to remind you, at 12 o'clock, we come back with one of my favourite ever Carnation collections, Crafty Little Things, and it is sublime. Focusing this show, though, on the Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes. We've got the label, we've got the arch, and we've got the hexagon, and they are stunning. Now, I'm going to show you one sample, if I can find the one I'm looking for. Here it is. That really outlines the versatility of what we can do with this particular piece. Have a look at all the woven intricacy here, how it goes into all the little shapes and how that glorious detailing comes through. This is card making like no other card making. It's absolutely stunning. You can do so much with this collection. Every single little piece, either the holes or the little longer pieces here, can have paper woven through. They can have ribbon woven through. There's so many options. You can make your card base look exactly how you want it to look like, or you can use it in its purest form, and even then it looks incredible. Now it gets even more exciting, and I'll show you what I mean by that on the boards, because on the boards you'll see that you get more than just your main cut detail. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you cut these out, if I was to cut it here, I'm going to get these shapes, obviously, okay, my Eyelet and Ring shapes. Brilliant. Now the way it works though is, let me show you some metal. Can I ask you to just zoom in on this for me, Taz? Oh. Let's get her working. I've made her a sausage sandwich this morning so she can deal with it. So where you've got these elements here. Now, let me get where my hand is. Right, you see the bit with the actual Eyelet and Ring? That's not a cutting die, as in it will cut the shapes out for you, but it doesn't actually cut those edges for you. Now these silver pieces that I've got my finger going down here, they're your cutting die. So you choose whether you want to have the Eyelet and Ring section or not. But when you look at this piece of metal here, can you see how there's almost a track? There's a gully in between the two lines that run. Where my fingernail is right there, there's a gully between those lines. So we get different cuts here. Those pieces will cut out a full die as normal. So if you want to cut the label shape, you absolutely can. But they also then, in that gully, cut these beautiful fine line details, and they're exquisite. They're an additional finishing piece. They're beautiful every time, and we can use them in lots of different ways, and they're sitting there for you as well. So you get the fine line details, you get the main die cut, and you can use then the Eyelet and Ring and use these little shapes too. So the options for this are endless. It is absolutely incredible every single time. And as we do go through DT, you'll see more and more as to how you can use them and where the detail lies. So this one obviously is your label shape and is absolutely beautiful. Again, Carnation, not wasting anything here. You even get your insert piece. Most companies would stop at this square, if not even this square, but Carnation give you all of the elements because we can use them for stamping and we can use them as embellishments. So there's economy all the way through, isn't there? We're getting every single element. That's the actual die itself as such. That's what we're seeing. So these fine details coming around, then your eyelet and ring and your main shapes. So lots of different ways of playing. We've also got for you the archway, which I love. This is going to be so popular. And just for obvious reasons, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So this is going to be great, isn't it, for wedding cards, for anything that may have a church connotation to it. It's got the idea of the window there, or the mirror in fairy tale cards, or just the beautiful curvature at the top is gorgeous for any kind of element that we're showing. It's got the feeling of rainbows as well. So if you cut them sort of this high, you can use that as a rainbow section too. And then we have got your hexagon. Again, that gorgeous detailing coming. Isn't it beautiful? Absolutely stunning. Nested dies are just incredibly important for card makers. It's what gives us the freedom to create in the ways that we want to create. This is the Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes collection 241015. Now, just to be absolutely clear with you, this is a deal of the day today, so the price isn't going to stay at £69.99. In fact, at midnight tonight it will increase to £83.97, which is your price for all your individuals added together, which are £27.99. You can find the individuals on the website, absolutely, but I will say your value today obviously is in that bundle. And if you already own the Eyelet and Ring nested collection, this kind of finalizes, doesn't it, that collection. It gives you all of the shapes, and you already know how gorgeous the Eyelet and Ring is. I know loads of you have it already. If you do have it, please pop a message on so we can say hi. We'll say hi anyway, but you know what I mean. And we'll have a look at all your samples for you. Are you okay, Miss Taz? She looks very busy in the corner. Right, let's have a look at some samples and see what the DT have been up to. So, we're looking at the archway here. This is Sue Dalrymple, who has used Happy Hollow here to create the different elements. So you've got those gorgeous, you can see the fine details coming around. Now the actual card shapes itself, you're seeing them in their full glory there. No eyelet and ring here, you'll see. Oh, no eyelet and ring on that mirror card either. And then on the white, you've got the eyelet and ring. So your detailing is as you choose it to be. You're in control of making your cards look different every time you use them. Now, normally with a nested die, you are, you know, you get given the shape and you're kind of, I won't say stuck with that shape, but that's the shape you've got, right? You've got the variants in sizes, but that is the shape. With the eyelet and ring, it's completely what you want it to be. So you can play with all of those elements. You can fine tune your cards in a way that's visually very pleasant, very correct for you. It's just really beautiful. A little bit of backing paper here really enhances the colour of those eyelets and rings, and this is the Stay a While collection. You can see how the green behind the eyelet and rings is really poking through. It's really beautiful. Also note here that Pam has used 2 of the eyelet and rings here in different sizes, but it's not layered. So this is your main section, and those extra pieces have been cut in, that detail cut inside that one piece using the 2 different dies. So again, we get that gorgeous kind of double frame, and it's so pretty, isn't it? Really, really stunning. Look at this. 3 layers here from Vera Bow using the Golden Age collection. All 3 of them using the eyelet and ring. So we have all the way through. Beautiful work. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? To a fabulous friend. Now, apertures and working apertures and layers, we come in with Pam Simpson with the hexagon, and this is your sunsets and skylines. Look at that. See the use of apertures? I love the way that Pam has used the sort of this one to create the aperture and these to add the layers. So again, You don't have to use the eyelet and ring. If you want to cut this off just here, as she has done to create that frame, you absolutely can. Isn't it beautiful? Then, coming in strong, Janine, look at this. That's your archway. And of course then your label shape, and that's simply just one scored to create this stunning card shape. So you see how many ways we're using it. We're changing all the time. On the front section here it says, may your birthday wishes come true. You see the fine details that are coming around. You've got it on the archway here, this very thin line of your perfect paper. That's the little sections we were talking about in that die, how we can frame things up differently. Doesn't it look so pretty? Really gorgeous. Christmas. And this is the family Christmas collection. Look at that. White on white. And we're working with simplicity here. So you do have that mirror card in there. It's just beautifully done, isn't it? Really, really gorgeous. Lovely, lovely layers. Something slightly more, I guess, modern from Pam Simpson here. So we've got the mouse from Summer Cascades, and then we're using those hazy horizons. So we're now using them as little almost portholes, aren't we? Little apertures inside that card with some extra layers to give it that geometric shaping, and it's absolutely stunning. Really, really stunning, because again, we're utilizing everything in a different way. Obviously, we're using the hexagons there, but the main card shape is the archway. How pretty is that? Sending you love. You'll see in demo I do something similar, not the same, but something similar. Now Janine has used those fine details that come through here. I'll be using the main card shapes, not the fine detailing. But again, we'll offset those shapes. So it's changing the way visually that it looks. These are important steps that we can take. Now I'm going to show you one more, and then I'll show you the rest of them once we've had a demo. But I do love them all so much. This is Sue Dalrymple. Incredible work here with Held in Our Hearts. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful for a sympathy card. Isn't that pretty? Incredible team, aren't they, the DT team? They're so clever. There's so much talent sitting in that pool. Using the Eyelet and Ring Additional Card Shapes Collection 241015. The Eyelet and Ring Additional Card Shapes can be found on the Carnation Crafts website, carnationcrafts.co.uk. Normal price is going to be $83.97, and it will be that price from midnight going forward. But we're going to give you a special show price today, and today only, of $69.99, and we'll give you free P&P. So you can't argue with them apples. Then you've got the QR code at the bottom of the screen. You can use your camera just to hover over that, which will provide a link directly to this bundle for you, and that will allow you to go straight in and make your purchase without searching. For those of you who prefer, you can use that number. Sometimes when I'm doing this and I'm talking, I start to think that I sound like you know, the ladies on aeroplanes when they're doing the safety thing. Sometimes my voice feels a little bit like that.
You can find your collection here, here, and
here, 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 and here. I'm not, just so you know, they wouldn't let me on a plane doing that. And I don't blame them. Right, let's have a look at what we're working with here.
I'm just saying, if I see you're my air hostess, I'm getting off that plane.
If I see that I'm the air hostess, I'm getting off that plane as well, just so you know. No faith in my own skills. Right, so we've got this sitting here, the hexagon. Now, the great thing about the hexagon shape is we can use it in loads of different ways, but obviously we've got that base layer here which allows it to stand firm. It's a really nice element to use. If you've got maybe the archway or something along those lines, or if you own the other collection and you've got the rectangle, you can actually place that over here and use these almost as a side panel to your card to offshoot it, which looks really pretty as well. I've scored mine at 1/2 inch and I've got red liner tape, so we're going to do the chisel with this, and we're just going to fold that back on itself, give it a shuffle out, and we can just lay that down, and that's going to give us my card shape. Isn't it so pretty? And I love the fact that when you've just put a little bit of colour underneath it, it really changes the way it looks. It's so beautiful. So that is that for you. Now let's start working on layers. I've got 3 and I've used the full eyelet and ring with each of these. And I've got foam tape on each of them to just raise them up slightly. Now, if I wanted to, I could, of course, just layer them up, you know, as you would expect, and then work with that card base exactly as is. But what I really like is the offset element to it. I love the twist on using hexagons because they look so pretty. So what we're actually going to do, I'm going to make sure I've got this seated the right way. So that is my top. And I'm just going to pull that slightly closer and just seat that on the line of my glass cutting mat, and then I can work in my layers going forward from that. What I want to do is have my final card base, the end one, to sort of mirror this one as much as possible. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to find my bottom point, so my midsection, there's a little tiny little hole as such there and there, and I'm going to offset this to those points with this slightly higher at the top than the bottom so it doesn't interfere with my card standing. Okay, so that's my first offset. Now I can play with the shapes that I've got. So I'm just going to keep layering these up and I'm going to keep offsetting. So around about there is all wonderful. Okay, so we're creating this twist and it's really pretty to look at, isn't it? Final one, I kind of want this one to be straight in the same way that that bottom one is, my card base, because obviously I want to start decorating it. So I'll come in with this about here. How beautiful is that? It's like a rose. It's already like a flower. Just by twisting those hexagon shapes, you're creating almost a floral piece. So you've already got this insane quality, haven't you, when you're looking at them, and they're just beautiful, really pretty. So from there, I'm going to do some very simple work with this. Just to sort of build a scene. We're not going far with it because the main star of my show right now are my eyelet and ring die sets. So I'm going to use those as my main piece, but we will get some everyday glue and we're going to decorate them a little bit. And got my applicator. And I've got all kinds of elements from all kinds of collections. You all right, Taz?
Yeah. We've just had a question from Suzanne, so I thought we'd just clarify where you're sticking down. She said, missed the beginning, can you tell me what the sizes of these die sets are, please?
Yes, certainly. So your label has 17 dies. The largest one, I'm saying this as if I know what I'm talking about, I don't, Miss Taz is holding a board up. The largest one is 14.4 times 4 by 4. I'm assuming that's centimetres, is that correct?
It's 14.4 by 14.4 centimetres.
Centimetres, there you go. Your hex has got 17 dies as well. Largest is 16.7 by 14.4 centimetres. Should we say this really slowly? She has to keep her arm elevated for a long time. Your arch is 15 dies. I can't read that now, you've put it down. 15 dies, and your largest is 11.9 by 18.5. So I hope that helps. Yes, Taz?
Can I also add that on our website, in the description for this, it also tells you all the sizes of the dies if you want to know anything further.
So it does outline it. Right, okay, thank you. So yeah, there's always the little description boxes in there. Right, let's get some wet glue on here. I'm just going to lay these flat because they're my little florals. Everybody managing to stay warm today? I've had to put my heating on. The cold is upon us. And yesterday, Taz, when I woke up, there was actual frost on the roof outside.
I tell you what, it was actually quite warm up in Liverpool.
Rude. So I'm bringing in my florals. I'm keeping my shape at the side. I'm just using this edge. Now I realise I've got the point. That's fine. I'm actually going to hide the edge at this side as well. I'm going to disguise as such both of them. What I want is that shape cascading, and I'll maintain that shape around the top and the bottom. I'm okay to just get rid of those side elements. So I'm going to bring in some grass just to offset at the other side. I don't want it to be symmetrical. The shape of the card is not symmetrical, so I don't need the rest of it to be. But I do want the height. So I'm just going to tuck and just pull in those grasses. Now you can offset them, you can lay them straight, it doesn't really matter. I'm using a finer texture on the grass than the florals. The florals is much heavier, much more bountiful, and I just want that softened edge on this side, and that's all I'm asking it to produce. And then I just want a tiny little pop of colour. Now this beautiful little floral that we've got here does have these leaves at the side and a very specific finishing point. If I lay that down, I'm ruining the grounding device on it, so I want to just use the snippability that I have with this die to just cut into it. I'm just going to use my glasses, and I'm just going to just take away just these little elements at the bottom there, so it's not quite so squared up. I've got little pip marks that I can use, and I'm just going to get that back to a point, which is nice and easy done with these dies. Always is with Carnation. We always have that valuable snippability. Just bringing in some adhesive, and I'm going to poke that little point through the hole at the bottom so I cover my workings. And that's just that little pop of colour, just to add in some detail.
I'm going to ask you a question that you might not know the answer to.
Okay, that wouldn't be unusual.
Linda has just asked, what collection is the floral you're using just now, Carla?
The pink one. Hold on, because I can tell you.
I don't know. It was a minute ago, so it probably won't be the pink one.
No, it's from the same collection. I can tell you. Just bear with. It's from Sunsets and Skylines. I hope that helps. Sunsets and Skylines. Right, look at me looking like I know what I'm doing. I don't. One of the DT samples actually has the same collection, and it has the name on the back of it.
I panicked.
I know, I would have panicked as well. I'd have been like, why? Right, that ball tool's too big. Let's take in a ball tool for his little head. And his beak. And then I'm just going to follow through on his stomach line. Pulling through around the back of that wing. Not really touching the midline of his wing, just pulling it round to create that sort of bowling out. And then I can pull this and I can push his head, and that's going to give me that beautiful shape that's going to create those shadows. And then let's just place him on. So we keep him very clean, very white lines here. Lots of silicone gel glue, especially on his head. I want his head to be pushed forward. So can you see can you see the difference in height on my silicone gel glue? Is much higher on his head than it is on his body. I want his head to be raised, so his body's going to lay. I want his head to raise up. So if I use a little extra on his head than his body, I can manipulate that. And I'm just going to cover all workings at the bottom here with his tail feathers and that beautiful little log that he's sitting on. And just push his body slightly down so that adhesive is taking place. You can see the shadows around him, and then his little head sticking up. So we're just giving him those detailings. Really beautiful card, right? And the eyelet and ring shapes give us this gorgeous processing that we get when we're creating with them, because they're so beautiful from the offset. So actually, with very little effort on our part, we can create something absolutely stunning, because the card bases and then those natural layers that come in because we're using nested dies are always incredible. And I just think it's so pretty. Just a really lovely, simple card, but very effective. There's room there, of course, if you want to add a sentiment that can sit above his head, or it can sit at the bottom there. White on white is always beautiful, and these card bases lend themselves, don't they, to that white on white special clean detail. This is the Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes collection, 241015. It has a show price of £69.99 today. It will go back up to £83.97 at midnight tonight, so you do only have limited time to get it at the offer it's at. Free UK P&P. You are more than welcome to use the QR code at the bottom of your screen to take you directly to it, or go to the Carnation website www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Right, let's have a look at some more of those DT samples because they're really stunning. Yes, Taz?
I thought before we do that, we've got a lot of people watching
Hello.
and saying hello. So I thought we should say hello back. So over on YouTube, we've got Debbie, we've got Annie, we've got Linda, we've got Jackie, we've got Marie, we've got Mandy, we've got Jackie Ward, who said, I used my eyelet and ring last night for a 14-year-old with Grace and Calm. It looks so elegant.
They're beautiful, aren't they? Really beautiful.
We've also got Penelope, we've got Suzanne, who asked the question. We've got Vera Bow watching.
Is that Suzanne Page?
Suzanne Baker.
Suzanne Page, if you're watching, we've got a special collection for you in a week or two.
Oh, we've got Vera Bow and we've got Marie Craig. Then over on Facebook, we've got Pearl who's saying hello. We've got Yvonne. We've got Sue Dalrymple who's saying hello.
Sue.
We've got Linda McLeod. We've got Sam Smith, Alison Ward. We've got Suzanne Shufflebottom. We've got Jo. We've got Linda Wilson. We've got Jacqueline Ward, who's also using her compact calendar at the moment because she says she's going to use it as a countdown to Santa.
We've got ours sitting over there. Wrong date, mind you.
Sorry, we've also got Linda Morton, who just said, just purchase this to complete the whole collection.
Nice to have, right? They're my favourites, the Eyelet and Ring. There's something about them. There's something about being able to weave into them. There's something about the attraction of the decoration around the edge, which can be changed and manipulated. There's so many ways of using them, and it's a really valuable, important set of nested that we've got, which is really, really wonderful to have. Right, let's have a look at some more of these DT samples. So I'm going to show you the rest of them, and then we'll have a shuffle through again after the next one. 20% already gone, guys. This is going fast. I'm in love with this one that Janine has done. I just think everything about that card is so perfect and so beautiful, and she is a very clever sausage. Look at the detailing on the centre where we're using that eyelet and ring coming through twice. The fine detailing that comes from those edge pieces, it's perfection. Beautiful card making. And it's almost simplistic to look at, isn't it? It's not, it's a complex card, but it's also very simplistic to look at. Those geometrical shapes that remind me of a spirograph when I was a kid, which I used to love the spirograph. We've got Vera coming in with the Beauty Beyond collection here. Just for you. Those frames, using those frames to create those apertures, those layers upon layers to create that stunning work that you see through here. And you can really see how it sort of comes together, can't you, to use those frames. And again, we're doubling on the eyelet and ring here. So we're creating that sort of bountiful frame, aren't we? Visually very pleasing. Love it. And then we've got the Stay a While and Orchard Outing. Can I just say, the DT team are awesome writing the names of these collections. I think it's because they know I'm hopeless. Stay a While and Orchard Outing from Vera Bow here, where you've got the gorgeous greenery as well. You see how it changes when we start to use perfect papers. It is lovely. Thank you, Taz. It's not mine. You can you can see all those elements coming through. It's really pretty. It's so peaceful, isn't it? Using the greens or using your perfect papers with the eyelet and ring gives it a completely different tonal difference. They really do change. And that, again, is why it's important. We've got here with your little label collection. I love this. Look at this. How sweet is that? New Baby. I think that's the New Light collection. And you've got those gorgeous pastel blues there coming in with those florals, which just create this gorgeous scene. Again, the offset of the shapes there. Don't feel like you have to always go in the same direction. So Janine here has used the labels. Then in the middle, she's got the hexagon and then the label again. And then at the top for the sentiment, again, the hexagon, but without the eyelet and ring. So clever ways of using it. This is like the most economical way of buying dies when we're using nested, because they are absolutely going to be used again and again and again. But then to get that and to have so much dynamic ability to change it every time you use it means you don't ever have to make the same card base twice, and it's always going to be at your fingertips. This next one fills me with nothing but joy. Vera Bow, Grace and Calm, and Beneath the Cherry Blossom. absolutely stunning. Sometimes it just takes a moment, doesn't it? They are beautiful. That archway going round with that double eyelet and ring. So you've got the main die going round here and then another just on the inside of that white panel. Then again, we go back in those layers to give it this idea of perspective of walking into a scene. Really clever use of them. Stunning, stunning card. And we move from that to the use of Vera's Water's Edge here, where we've got those gorgeous labels coming through. Again, have a look at what Vera's done here, where we've got the darker blue and we go into the paler blue and then into the white. Because we've got the eyelet and ring and we've got this detailing around the edge, it absolutely draws your eye to the centre of that card. It's so pretty and so well done. Then from there, we've got your Celebrate in Style. This is from Fairy Tale Day from Pam Simpson. So that wedding kind of detail here, white on white. And we're working again with the double eyelet and ring, which creates a different look and a different tone. And then from Janine here, we have used it as apertures for someone special. Look at that archway work. The floral bouquet. That sounded like a disaster, didn't it?
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? Absolutely stunning. Incredible work from the DT, and I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Remember, you can pause this at any time. If you've got us on YouTube and you've hit the notification button and the subscribe button, it tells you when we're going live, but it also gives you immediate access to all the videos we've done in the past. If you want to garner any kind of inspiration from this, you can, of course, pause all of those DT cards. If cards have been made from the DT team or by myself, you are free to copy any of them. That is absolutely fine. It's there for your inspiration. No problems at all. You'll find more inspiration on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. So please feel free to grab all the inspo you possibly can. Just to remind you, while I'm getting my next demo out, this is the Eyelet and Ring additional card collection. And this is a show price of $69.99, normal price $83.97, which is what it will be at the midnights of tonight. I hope I've lost all my pieces, Taz. Right, let me get my bits and bats out of my bag. Right, so what I'm trying to do in this show is show you the three shapes in demo. So it might not be quite as dynamic as the DTs, but it's just to make sure you've seen each of the three shapes. So we will have one with the archway as well, but for this one I want to use the label. So I've got here my element first of all, as we do. So I'm using these again as a standard card base, and I'm just going to, I've scored there at 3/4 of an inch. I've got my red liner tape, so I'm just going to remove that. Miss Taz is crawling around on the floor just underneath me, trying to rectify my mistake. Sounding very pleased about the whole thing. I'm just going to shuffle those together. I think some fell behind me, Taz. I don't think she wants me to help her. Right, so I've got my eyelet and ring, so the little holes. When I refer to eyelet and ring, what I mean is actually the little added details here, those ones. But on this one, I haven't used it. I've just used that main die to create that shaping, okay? So it's about varying your techniques, because as we build in those layers, it will give us a different view. From here, I've got a 3mm foam tape on here just to raise it a little, not too much. And I'm just going to lay that down. Isn't that green gorgeous, those perfect papers? Summer. I know everybody loves winter, and I might be the only human that does not, but I really miss summer. So now I'm using my eyelets and ring again. If we're looking at the perfect paper, we've got that dotted paper. Carnation produce a pack of perfect papers for every single collection that they do. And the ones that they do at the minute have a base of some block colours and some pattern colours. And they often have these polka dot ones, which I love. Now, when you're using something that naturally has little circles in it anyway, what it does is highlight the dots in the backing paper. So that gives me this really nice visual frame, because everything starts to almost visually fizz before I've done anything. And I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but the green looks like it's fizzing to me because it's working with all the little circles in it. So we're just kind of enhancing that green paper, that green backing paper. Now I use my 3mm again. Look at that. So just taking a moment to look at what we create visually, how we do it, why those lines are so important. It's so easy with Carnation to produce really beautiful things because if your elements are all correct, it's really hard to then make it look wrong. You can't make a bad card with Carnation. The reason people say that is exactly because it's right. If you've got all of your tools in place and everything works before you ever start, nothing you make on that is going to be a negative, right? Because it's all perfect to begin with. Look how beautiful that is. Just visually perfect. Right, let's start building in then. So again, I'm going to use my little car here. And I'm just going to, it's a big surface here, area. If I want to shape it out, obviously I've got a mirrored vignette. What you can do, I'll just show you very briefly. I'm not going to particularly do this, but if I start, I'll have to do a little. If I'm just going to work it round, I'm going to ignore the boot. Just work around that bumper, not bumper, what's it, the side bits. God, I'm technical when it comes to cars. And then I'm just going to work onto the wheels. And that's it. I don't need to do anything more. I'm just going to just manipulate the luggage rack. Now, I'm going to place this down on here. Okay. Now, if you want to make a card with Carnation, you can literally do that and then just put a sentiment on it and you've pretty much sorted yourself out, right? So what I can do, quite simply, is just kind of do that, sticking it all down. And you've already got something really cute. Really cute. Now I'm going to build on it, but I did just want to say that the value of having your vignettes and your artwork done in-house is exactly that. We get this really cute, gorgeous whimsy, don't we? You can't get with lots of different other people's work joined together. Because we work in-house, that's what we can create. I think that's why you will love Carnation so much, isn't it? Now I've got some grass lines here and I've just snipped them in half just to create some edges, and so I'm going to build those and just build them out. Okay, so I'm creating that edge. Now I want to make sure that my workings get covered. I don't want to mess down at the bottom. It's not going to please me visually, so I'm just going to raise these up. Now I know my car is not as wide as these, so I'm going to add additionals. Because if I just leave these on the side, spanning out, so that I've got my height, I'm going to have a messy working down here, and I don't like that. Little bit of wet glue, not much, just that little bit of adhesive. And again, I'm working with these corner dots here just to sort myself as far as my placement is concerned. Just as a little visual cue. So they're not identical, but they are going to offset each other in a really nice way. And then I'm going to add in the car in a second. Here we go, I'll do this now. Now, my tyres are going to cover my working. It's really important that we do that. Really important that we don't leave messy edges, because visually it's just going to steal from what the work you've been doing. So I'm just going to pump in some of that. Place my wheels over my workings, like so. Now I'm probably going to push it up a little bit to about there. And just as a very quick point on that, one of the things that Carnation give us all the time are ground and devices, and there's a really significant reason for that. If I raise that quite a lot, my car is, as it stands, doing an absolute chitty chitty bang bang. Cars don't float. And so you need a grounding device. My grass does it a little bit, but not enough. It's not significant enough. Now, if I wanted to leave that card exactly as it is, I'm going to need something here, or I'm going to need to draw the car back down to the bottom, because otherwise my car is literally floating in midair. These little florals, I'm just going to pull everything forward just to shape out, and this is going to create the ground below. So it's going to add a little pop of colour just in, raising that up, and we're just going to do the same. And the purple and green together are just so pretty, aren't they? I'm just going to weave those lines in so that we're offsetting those florals. All that groundwork finished, we've covered it. So it starts to make more sense, because what you don't want is a car floating in midair. It will not make sense to you or to the recipient. We need gravity in life. Add in just a little bit more on that framing out, just to go over the edge of that card. So you've got that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a whimsy, I suppose. A flourish, that's a good word. Small amounts, just placing in. Tuck that in to mirror the other side, just pushing down. I can just steal from that silicone gel glue and not actually bother with wet glue at that point, but I don't want it to move. So if you can grab it and push and get that adhesion, you know it's taken place. Right, from here I've got my new driver. Now I can choose to put that onto my bumper, which I really like, or I can choose to put it up here. I can do either or. Both are very pretty, and it's entirely up to you what you do, obviously. I'm going to put mine just above, just with a little wet glue. Try and get that central to about there. And then I've got some little white flourishes here. I'm just going to break up some colour down the bottom. Not too much, but just tuck those in so that it's not too purple. And it'll just add a bit more detail. Just like so. And then bringing in the tweezers. You know it gets serious when I bring the tweezers in. To just detail out these small elements. So we're going from a learner to somebody who has passed. Just very sweet. New driver card. Cute, really sweet. Those little elements coming through. Just check your grounding devices using those gorgeous, gorgeous Eyelet and Ring shapes. They're just so pretty. It's such a nice finish to your cards. Your cards look finished before you even begin, which thank you very much. We like them apples. 241015, the Eyelet and Ring additional card shape collection. Show price of $69.99. It is going to go back at midnight tonight though to $83.97. So there will be a shift in price. You've only got now to move on it. Free UK P&P. Can use the QR code at the bottom of the thing if you want. It's all there for you. Sorry, Taz. I'm not eating crisps. I do promise. Yes, Taz.
Pearl has asked.
Who?
Pearl.
Hello, Pearl.
She's asked, I love the flowers. Where are they from, please?
I can't remember which collection they're from, the big purple ones. I'm so hopeless with the names of things. I have got an awful lot of cut and stick that I pick from, so I do apologise. We'll try and find them for you.
Hang on. I
Pick from my collection.
think I may have got it. Give me 2 seconds.
Taz is
Just
going to
want
source
make
it for
sure
you.
it's the right one.
Right, so I'm going to use the archway card shape while Taz is doing that, but for this time I'm actually going to use a plain rectangle at the back. Okay, so I'm just using the main plain shapes. I'm just going to place this and push that down so that it's all set and where it needs to be. Now I'm going to bring in, look at that. If ever you wanted a pop of colour, there it is right there. Beautiful elements. So I'm just going to remove this. Again, I'm working 3mm here, just to raise up and bring in that gorgeous pink. So it's summer festival, isn't it? It reminds me of the Great British Bake Off. It's got that feel to it. Now I've got my little panels here and I'm going to use these as my corner flourishes. So I can choose to use them in height as such, like so, because I've got a longer edge on one side, or I can choose to use them with the shorter edges and frame it widthwise. It's up to you which one you want to do. For terms of this demonstration, I'm going to use them that way, and that's going to give me my diagonal straight across, which I really like. And I'm going to make sure that they are just slightly over the edge on that side, making sure that they stay on the edge here so it doesn't interfere with the bottom of my card as it tries to stand. Not as worried, of course, about the top one, but we have got to make sure the card can still stand up, because if it overlaps, it's going to get a bit of a wobble on it. So just placing in, bless you, little dabs of adhesive. Now I want it to wander. I want it to be slightly off the edge. You'll see why as I start making sort of more with the card. I don't want it to be hidden completely by my workings. So just making sure that it's stuck down, but also that it doesn't interfere. Let's pop in some of this down. Nice big surface area. I'm not shaping them, there's no need, it's just a background piece. And I'll place it around about there. Okay, so we're framing. Now from here I'm going to bring in my first archway. Okay, so I've got this gorgeous piece that's bright, and then I'm just toning it down with those whites. Again, I'm using wet glue for these. You can use red liner tape, of course. Wet glue gives you a little bit more breathing room, which honestly in demo is really important. So I'm just going to work the edge, tiny amounts in the middle there, and steal a bit from there, and then I'm just going to seat this down. How beautiful that archway is. So pretty. Commit to that adhesion. Now, I've got one layer down and I want to bring in my next. I've used the eyelet and ring, the actual little elements that you see here, on every one of these layers. I really want to pull it together. But to just cool that a little bit, I obviously haven't used it around the rectangle, so I've just got it on the archway. That's going to make the archway pop, and it's going to make it the most important piece that I've got in the elements, because the card itself is going to be simple. We're actually utilising the eyelet and ring in this demonstration as the main star. So I'm just going to place, push and pull to get that into place. Now, I want to bring in my next archway, and I've used, look at that, how sweet is that? The little fine detail just to frame out the frame. And that's going to sit in the middle. So I'm building all of these layers, which is very beautiful to look at, but I just want to offset some of it as well. And I'm going to bring in, on this layer, the next floral. Okay, so I'm bringing layer and layer and layer. We're working in and in and in. Now I need to keep this in place before I do that, but the foam tape is going to interfere with what I'm doing, and I need to just avoid that. So before I stick it down, I'm just going to make sure I've got everything in place, and then I can use that. So if I turn that, okay, so I know that my florals are where they want. So I'm going to stick the archway exactly where it is, but I'm just going to use the flowers first. Then I know I've got everything in place. And I know also that I just need these to be adhered on the inside of the shape, not on the outside, because it's not going to have any adhesive there. So bringing it in and just utilising that adhesive to just hide the white element down here and build up almost like a decoupage those pieces. Same again here, just using that inside element. Hey up. Make sure that's smooshed all around. Bring this in. And place. Now I can get my archway down. I've got my border sorted. My frame is done. Hey up. There we go. It's just really evocative of a church window. So I used the church because it just reminded me so much of a church. So the rest of the card is very simple. We're simply going to take the church. I'm just going to use those cut lines just to give it a little bit of shape, not too much. Look at that. Beautiful structural sculptability. We get it every time, don't we? So that roof now, that perspective of that roof. So simply by pinching the roof and the window there, and then the little point, and then framing that in, you get this gorgeous line on that roof. I'm going to fill that with some silicone gel glue, of course, just to keep that shape, to maintain it. If I'm going to do that, I need to do it where the creases are, so that as the silicone gel glue dries, it's going to hold it, and that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to fill this line and this one, just so that as it dries, it maintains that shape. I'm going to place it onto that little line so that I've got my grounding device in place. Centre of the show. So we've got all that shadow play coming through, very perspective wise, kind of bringing together. Welcome to the 100s Club. Okay, now see how this has got a wee point at the top? I've got the dot right in the centre of my eyelet and ring here. The great thing about working with something like this is you always know your center point. So you can always utilize that to put things in the correct place. Now, I don't want to have this too far near the church. I want to sort of increase the height a little bit. But I know where I want it to be because I want it to cover that center point. So I'm going to work about there. And that'll set me straight. Welcome to the 100s Club. And just stick that down. Now all I'm going to do now is just add in a couple of these florals just to create a little corner so there's a little bit of difference. So I'm going to use my ball tool just to give these a little added height. And then I've got my leaves. And I can just bend them on those cut lines that are in the die when it gets cut. Look at that. Sweet. Now, using my tweezers. What have I done with my florals? Oh, there they are. So, I'm going to take the big one first. Right in the corner. I don't want too much detailing here. I've got a lot, but I'm going to reflect off that frame and only on the one side. Just tuck them in. And create that little line round, just like so. Very sweet, very pretty. And I had a leaf somewhere. There it is. I'm going to use the leaf just to go upwards. Now I can do it on either side. I can do it at the bottom to frame out, which is very cute, or I can do it up here to create some height. Either way doesn't matter. It's just about creating that little visual difference. and just as a pop of colour. It doesn't really matter which side you do it, but it does just give it a little extra visual oomph on that card. And that is your archway. So that's all 3 shapes now utilised. So I hope you've been able to see them in different ways, different lights, and how they come across. Just super cute, super pretty, easy card making because we're using easy card bases, made just stunning before we've ever begun. If you've got that foundation, you are set to go. It is such a delight to bring to you the Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes. Really just gorgeous, aren't they? And I hope you've got as much from them as I will. You're just going to have the best time with them. Nested dies, your most important dies, always, always, because they are the foundation for everything that we make. They are apertures, they are layers, they are card bases, they are easel cards. They are all so important and a joy to have. Over 25% has already gone. You're going to have to be fast. 241015, the Eyelet and Ring additional card shapes collection. That's got a normal price of $83.97. At midnight tonight, that is going to hike back to that price. This isn't a special offer for a week. It is only for today. So please do get ahead of us on the website www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, or you can use that QR code like we said at the bottom. Just flash your camera on there and go straight to the link and it will all be there for you. Now, Taz and I are actually going to be back with you in an hour's time. So we're going to have a brew and then we've got Crafty Little Things. For those of you who don't own Crafty Little Things, you're in for a rare treat. It's my all-time favourite Carnation collection ever. I love Crafty Little Things. It's all about craft. It's got all the little characters in there for the little mice, and it's also a dynamic card shape that just changes everything. It's such a gorgeous collection. I hope you can join us for it. I'll show you how that wardrobe is made in that dynamic collection, and we'll go through all the demos for you. In the meantime, have a brew, stay warm, maybe get a slice of toast or a toasted tea cake, Miss Taz. That would be very nice. And we will see you in an hour. Take care till then.